What's going on? You're in the Beat Sessions. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. It's Friday, August 26th, and I am so happy that I am not the one covering the new Muse album this week. Keith, good luck with that, my friend. You're an entertaining dude. I'm sure you'll handle it well. And I'm probably going to agree with 100% of what you have to say about that record. It's not very good. But in the meantime, let's keep our focus on things that are good. And actually not just good, but entirely badass. Let's talk about this new record from Machine Head entitled Of Kingdom and Crown. This is the band's 10th studio album and their follow-up to 2018's Catharsis. And I say this every time I cover a metal album on the channel, but I need to cover more metal on the channel, and it's going to start happening very soon. September is an amazing month. New music from Ozzy Osbourne, Megadeth, Slipknot, Drowning Pool. The future is bright for your metalheads. But in the meantime, we have this excellent hour of music from Machine Head, and I'm just thrilled that Robb Flynn is back. He's been able to keep this project together now for 30 years. He really has been the heart and soul. Been a couple hiccups along the way that could have caused breakups, and frankly, with the personnel changes, there's always that potential for band dynamics to just fall through. So I love that he's kept this thing together, and this arguably is one of their best records to date. The quality of music on this thing is outstanding. It sounds like Pantera meets Iron Maiden meets Suicidal Tendencies meets Slayer. It's all over the place, but all in the right ways. And I got to point out, as much as I love Robb's guitar playing, they brought aboard this Polish musician, Wacław Kiltika, I believe is how you say his name. But the man he's just a shredder. He is unreal on the guitar. His technical work on this record is amazing. So one of my favorite things about it, and I'm loving the concept of this record as well. It's the band's first concept record, and it's cool, focusing on two anti-heroes, Ares and Eros, and both of these characters suffering major losses in their life, and they just go on these massive killing sprees. So that's basically what the record is capturing, and I like the feel with the anti-hero. Robb talks about this in an interview. He says that while he was creating this record, there was just a lack of inspiration, of being able to identify with the heroes. And as soon as he had this switch, making these heroes anti-heroes, everything just kind of fell into place and set off. So I love the story. I love the movement of this. I think it's absolutely fascinating. And I would encourage you to pull up an interview or maybe just pull up something that has a little bit of that plot and story and follow along with the lyrics, because it's a really cool element of this album. But this thing opens up with Slaughter the Martyr. What an amazing song. 10 plus minutes, a brilliant album opener, and such an amazing array of music. And I think that, this particular track really captures all the fun stuff that is going to go on this record for the remaining hour. But riff of just single notes that resonate. I like the minimalism, and then the vocal enters. You get another bit of guitar there. And then I really dig the slow build for about 3 minutes. And then this thing goes to work. And what I admire the most about this track is just the great balance of heavy drive and the melodic atmosphere. Really just fine work as far as bringing in that style of thrash, of groove metal, a little bit of new. These guys are just killing it on this record, and this song in particular. Solos come in about 7 minutes into the song, and it's got a great coda. Just a phenomenal way to open up this record. Choke on the Ashes of Your Hate is your second song. Goes to work immediately. Love the opening riff and the intermittent drums to open up this track. But then, the riff has got this really cool harmonic elements. I mean, just the notes that, and I'm sure that's Wacław that's hitting those. The dude is just phenomenal. Really dig the solo that Flynn is going to work with on here, but Wacław's solo I think is a little better. Very catchy second tune. Become the Firestorm is your third song. Big drums, double bass in the intro, super fast double bass, and this is something that I'm fairly critical about. Oftentimes I feel like the double bass can be a little egregious, a little unnecessary, and I felt that the couple moments on this album where I do have criticism, I felt like this was one of those where it felt like a bit too much, but it didn't quite hit that area of excess. So I'm good with it. I love the way that this track slows the tempo and the pace of the record. It just has good movement from start to finish. Overdose is your fourth track, which, if you're not familiar with the concept and the story of the record, it might seem like some weird, creepy filler, but given the nature of Eros' loss, it'll make more sense once you dig into the story and check that out. My Hands Are Empty is your fifth song, vocal intro with just great world percussion. I love just the tribal world feel of the percussion on the song and the way it brings it in. Just get these big rolling drums and chugging guitars. Shout out to my boys David and Dylan at The Landing. You guys know what I'm talking about. Big chugging guitars. I love the way that this song moves back and forth into this ambient pace. It's really, really dope. Let me see here. Let's get my bearings again. Unhallowed is your sixth song. This the main riff is sick. I really like the just the fast finger work on the song. You get just big chugging feel again, nice groove that it settles into. But the other main riff, yeah, like I like the solid rhythm riff, but great finger work on that other riff that's coming in. And again, just another song it's incredibly melodic for the thrash territory that it gets into, and I admire these guys for that. Assimilate is your seventh song. Get another kind of I don't want to call it a filler track because it definitely has a function, and I like the way that it acts as an interlude and leads into Kill Thy Enemies. Your eighth song has got this mid tempo. The big chubbing grooves just really start to settle into the middle of this record. That's where they start to get more into the groove metal, I feel, on this particular album. But a phenomenal song. I dig it. No Gods, No Masters, your ninth song. Mid-tempo track. It's got this rapid fire riff. The contrast between the pre-chorus is interesting as well. And it's interesting the way that it speeds things up. But then my one criticism of this record, another one I should say, because I have a couple, but I'm not a fan of the hook on this song. I'm not a fan of where the melody goes, and it just it kind of enters into that territory of cheese a little bit, especially because I think this album does such a nice job of staying so focused on the story, which is dark. I mean, this is a dark record. Thematically, it's not a very pleasant thing necessarily to listen to. Imagine listening to Game of Thrones, I guess. That's kind of what we're going with. Except, I don't even want to get into that. That's an entirely different story. Bloodshot is your 10th song. It's more big drums to start on this thing. Back into that thrash feel, though. Picking up the energy, picking up the tempo and the pace. I like the move and the feel on that. Rotten is your 11th song. Backing into the groove metal a little bit. I like the mix with there's sections of this song that definitely tap into the thrash territory, and I'm like the balance between those two. Terminus, your 12th song, is another interlude there, leading into your final track, Arrows in Words from the Sky. Really mellow track, relatively speaking, for what's being done on this record, but it's nice and melodic. Great way to close this record out. Lyrically, I think you'll really dig it thematically what's going on there, but this record's awesome. I know there's probably a lot of you out there that maybe aren't metalheads. Like I said, I don't cover a lot of metal on the channel, but if you're feeling so inclined, if you feel just like taking the leap and listening to something that might be brand new, or dive down the rabbit hole with this thing. It is awesome. Vinyl, please. And I got to say, 60-minute runtime, I normally do have some things to say about this, but it's the genre, and the metal genre with all the frequencies that you're working with takes up a lot of space on the discs. This thing at an hour with 13 songs, 2 discs, it's pretty much maxing out the space on it. So yeah, we're going to vinyl please this thing, taking it all the way. Hope you enjoy this album. Hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel, do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.